Hi everyone out there, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. Over the years, I have shared so many different kinds of healthy habits or other things that we can implement in our life or add into our life to improve our life, to improve our health. But what about the things that we might stop doing, might actually take back a little bit? That is what today's video is about. I'm going to be sharing with you things that I stopped doing to simplify my life and add more ease, add more efficiency, and reduce stress as a result. So let's get started. Number one is trying to do it all. I used to set really unrealistic goals for myself and put too much on my plate, try to just do too many things. I still get overwhelmed, don't get me wrong. I still have, a bajillion things that I want to do any given day, but I can much better discern what I can realistically do. And when we let go of that need to do it all, there's such a big weight that's lifted off of our shoulders. Number two, I stopped going to bed without tidying up first. Now, my husband and I have been really good about this for probably as long as we've been together, I would say, but I didn't always used to be good at this, especially the kitchen though. We do a tidy up of the main floor before we go to bed, especially now with my daughter Sadie. She's one, toys get everywhere and such. But we do a good tidy up of the main floor and the kitchen. We make sure that the dishes are done, the dishwasher's been put on, the counters are wiped, everything. Because when you come down first thing in the morning, it is the world's best thing to come into a clean and tidy space that is ready for you to use. Number three is holding on to belongings that I don't use just in case. Now, there are certain circumstances under which I might hold on to something just in case, because I may actually end up using it before I decide to let it go. But over the years, I've gotten really good at parting with things that I own really easily if I just know that I'm not going to need it anymore, or I'm not using it, or I haven't used it for a really long time. I don't hold on to things as much as I used to in the past. Number four, I stopped wearing makeup as often. I do still wear makeup, and I do still enjoy wearing makeup for different reasons, or if we're going out, or if I'm filming, I will put on some makeup. But I go so many more days now makeup free, and I actually enjoy my makeup free face way more than I used to years ago. And it's also really nice at the end of the day to not feel like you have to remove makeup before bed. Number five, I stopped being so hard on myself for having a bad day. I have found it to be so important to accept that feeling anxious, feeling down, feeling unmotivated, or being less productive some days, or feeling like I need, time to rest or a break, is gonna happen in life no matter what. And I feel way better when I stop trying to force it away, or stop myself from feeling that way, or telling myself that I'm a failure, or that something's wrong or bad for feeling that way, which is totally not true. It's okay to have days where we're just not feeling it, right? And for women too, especially, how we feel can really ebb and flow with our cycle, which is something that I personally really like to pay attention to. I find that actually helpful because it gives me something to pinpoint sometimes if I'm just feeling a little off. The next thing that I stopped doing, huge one, and that is I stopped believing all of my negative thoughts. Right? Negative thoughts, they can be so convincing that we're not good enough, that we're not smart enough, we can't do it, we're not capable, whatever, the list goes on. Thoughts are not always based on reality, they're just simply thoughts. It's just a thing. Just popping through my head. It doesn't have to be something that I believe and I hold on to so tightly and like let dictate my every move. Number 7, I stopped delaying simple tasks. Things that take 2 seconds, like hanging up my coat or putting my keys in the right spot, or hanging up a shirt when I'm done with it versus throwing them all over the bed and not hanging them up. Number 8 is I stopped following so many home interior design accounts on Instagram. This did a couple of things for me. One is it helped me like want less stuff because I wasn't feeling so constantly like, oh my gosh, seeing all these amazing interior design inspiration things all the time. But also it let me flow so much more with my own style when I'm not being inundated by like what everyone else is doing and everybody else is like the trends that are out there. Now, don't get me wrong, I love interior design. I'm a very artistic, I'm a very creative person. I get a lot of joy out of these things. It's just a part of who I am. So I love these things and it's very fun for me. So I do follow, you know, different home interior accounts and things like that, but I just really had to let a lot of them go so that it wasn't like taking over my mind. Number 9 is I stopped using social media as much on weekends, especially really designating the weekends and like having that time for being off is so important. I think it is important for us to set boundaries when it comes to our use with social media, and maybe this, you know, it could look different for everybody, but I find, yeah, really not letting it be something that I use too much on weekends has been really good for me to do. I stopped avoiding saying I'm sorry. I think most of us probably dislike knowing when we were wrong or admitting that maybe we hurt someone, but it makes life so much easier when we stand up and we apologize when we're in the wrong. I feel so much better afterwards, even if it means swallowing my pride, because it shows that we care and that we're willing to own up to our mistakes. Instead of shoving things under the rug, which ultimately leads to, you know, tension and sometimes even resentment. Number 11 is going to the grocery store or shopping in general without a list or at least like a proper plan. I know I've talked a lot about meal planning on my channel, but that has been for sure a game changer. Like if I don't have a proper meal plan and a grocery list to go along with that, which we do every single week, it's the best. I'm just so much more aimless and directionless in stores. I just get like, what am I doing in here? Like I need to know exactly what I am there for. So having a list is so important. It also just prevents you from like buying things that you don't need, impulsive shopping, that kind of stuff too. Number 12, I stopped trying to do everything perfectly. I have struggled with perfectionism my whole entire life, and I still do, but I have gotten so much better at no longer fixating on as much on the tiny little details that like nobody else notices, but only I notice, that really don't make any difference at all. I'm much better now in my life at being satisfied without like endlessly tweaking something. Letting go of perfectionism frees up so much time because it really truly can be very time consuming when you're in like a perfectionism spiral, but also mental energy as well. You feel so much lighter when you just can let things go. Again, I'm not perfect at this. I'm not perfect at this. I am not a perfectionist about not being a perfectionist. You know, I still do struggle at times with this, but I'm just so much better. Number 13, I stopped being lazy about washing bed sheets. It's true, I didn't used to be always on top of washing bed sheets years ago, but it is something that bi-weekly I need the sheets to be washed every couple of weeks. I also just notice it so much more, like you can really tell when sheets need to be washed, and it feels so good to climb into your bed at night when the sheets are freshly washed. It's the best thing. It's the best thing. Number 14 is I stopped putting pressure on myself to make every single thing from scratch at all times. Now, I absolutely do cook so many homemade meals. It's something that I really value for the health of myself and my family. As a nutritionist, I know that that's an important thing. But I've loosened up, a bit over the years when it comes to maybe time-saving conveniences like frozen pre-chopped butternut squash maybe, or a pre-chopped like salad thing. Sometimes it's better to choose the option that makes it easier for you to get those foods in versus not at all, because you don't have the time or the energy to chop up like 10 different vegetables for dinner one night. And that's okay. It kind of comes back to knowing that we can't do it all. Like, there are going to be days where sometimes we just need something that's a little bit easier and a little bit more ready to go. And lastly, number 15, I stopped waiting for the right time or the perfect time. There is rarely a perfect time for anything. If there is something that you've been wanting to go after or something that you've been putting off, just get started with the first step. It's really the best thing that I've found for myself, is just what is that really small step that I can take toward that, just to at least get started. If you never get started, time will just keep passing you by, and there's no one else who can take the initiative but you. So that is it for today's video, when we can like let go of certain attitudes or perspectives or like ways of living, when we can let go of certain things. It really can free up a lot of mental space and even time in our life as well. So thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear from you if anything on this list that I shared with you are things that you've stopped doing as well, or if there's anything else you want to add to it, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next one.